Right guys, Friday afternoon. You might have realised that we haven't posted much this week, and that's really because we don't want to bore you with too many uploads during the week. So what we thought we'd do is a Friday weekly roundup for the weekend. So basically what we've got is bits and pieces that we've been on with throughout the week, and as we go through the video, we'll go around the car, explain what we've done, all the different pieces, and then I'll upload there'll be individual clips of like Monday's work, Tuesday's work, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more interesting than just seeing bits of a beige Sierra. So we may as well start with these, and what these are the cage bosses. So that'll sit through inside the car, and there'll be some triangulation from the cage coming down onto these, and this ties in the rear beam. So this piece of steel will be dropped through the floor with this boss up against the rear beam, and then bolted through, and then that basically takes any force or twisting of the beam through the cage, basically makes it a bit stronger. So that's one thing that we was on with earlier in the week, and then so Tuesday, Wednesday, Paul was on with a bit of panel beating for something that didn't quite go to plan. But yeah, we'll have a look around the car, and we'll show you what we've done and what we haven't done, and what's next steps, and what we've ordered.
Yeah, so we've ordered a few bits over this week because we're going to manufacture our own pedal boxes because we've looked at other ones and they're not exactly what we really want to do. So we're going to make our own pedal boxes. So this week I've ordered a balance bar, all the cylinders, the adjuster cable and everything. When they all come, we can meet them all up and finish the pedal box, which then we'll finish the bulkhead on the car once the pedal box is made. What else have we ordered?
We need fuel fillers.
Fuel fillers. Premier Motorsport. Tried ringing them about 18,000 times
so if you're watching, answer the phone.
Yeah, because they just haven't answered the phone, so we haven't ordered any of them yet. But we need to put them in the rear quarters, finish the fuel system off. And that's about it, really, isn't it, for ordering bits? We've got everything else we need up to now.
Rose joints for the
a few bits and pieces, but we're about there with what we need. So we'll show you where we are and where we've got to with car up to now.
Let's have a look around it.
Yep. Right, guys, first thing we'll show you, we'll start at front and work our way back to make life easier, is these genuine Eggenberger top mounts that luckily, obviously, we have in stock, and that contain a load of parts. So they're all now mounted in and fitted. We tried to get some longer bolts, but they were the longest ones we could find. So these obviously are only just temporarily to get the positioning right at the top mounts, because what we are planning on doing is building this car up completely, obviously, before it goes to paint, to make sure everything fits perfectly and we're happy with it. So they're done, they're finished. All the spot welding on the apertures is done, but we won't go too much into that, as Steve's got some clips that he can put onto this video for you, so you'll see him actually doing that. The rear arches, again, are rolled, finished. The body kit's trial fitted. Obviously, it's like that because it isn't bonded on yet, but you can see they fit perfectly. So that, that's there. Steve's welded up that fuel filler all badly, but we won't mention too much about that, Steve, will we? But it's all I'm saying, it's a good job. I've got some Aram and dollies to straighten this rear quarter out. But yeah, it's fine. It's a good job. We have got the fuel fillers, as we mentioned earlier, to put in there from Premier, once Premier answer the phone so we can order them. We need to position them, get the holes cut, get them swaged, ready to fit. So on the outside of the car, what you'll see, that's it for now. So we'll swing it over and let you have a look underneath and what we've done there. Right then, so underneath, one of the fairly big jobs was to get these plates welded on. Steve's put a 3mm plate that you'll see there. Let me get out of the way. What we do there, obviously the original anti-roll bars just mounted in with two captive nuts, which are known for pulling out and snapping and what have you. So what we've done, taken them out, taken the original captive nuts out, welded a 3mm plate on, which strengthens this area anyway, and we've welded our own captive nuts onto the back of that 3mm plate before we fitted it. So that's that done. Sam's easy. Sam's like a 5-minute job, but that's taken me and Steve probably 3 hours today to get that right, making sure that the roll bar's in exactly the right place, the measurements. We do a cross-reference measurement across the car to make sure we're bang on. So that's that done. A big step finally done. Looks good. We're happy with that. Rear anti-roll bar. Got that down here. Again, luckily out of the store's bin. So we don't need that bit. Just to show you roughly what happens is, I'll grab that bolt. This bolt's too long, it won't go. Oh, it will. The rose joints just simply, if I can get my fingers and thumbs to work, look. Bolt into there. These aren't the bolts we'll use, by the way. This is just for demonstration purposes. But you can see the anti-roll bar strengthened there again. Steve's put a 3mm plate onto there, seam welded it and plug welded it on. He's machined these up on the lathe to the correct size and measurement we wanted. Done some really bad, terrible welding on them, as you can see. But, you know, he's getting there. He's learning slowly. So he's done that on both sides. As you can see, probably better here with light on it. And again, that anti-roll bar bolts through there. And then that goes to the rear arm on the big aluminium rear arm. So that's the front and rear anti-roll bar done. It doesn't look like we've done a lot this week, does it? But it's amazing how many hours this lot takes. But we think we're about there finally. Yeah, front wings to do. So we've got them to do rolly arches on the front flange, them. And then hopefully next week, Steve's going to start on the cage, teach me a thing or two about fitting cages, I hope.
Morning fellas, Monday morning, once again back at Paul Infoot's, carrying on with this shell. So today I've got a list of jobs today. So basically I've got heater matrix, so I've made up a little plate already. I've just made it fit perfectly in there. What we could do is we could end up just plating over that with a square plate, but it doesn't look very neat. So what I've decided to do is I've cut it out so it fits perfectly in. I'll weld that in, and once we grind it out, you won't be able to see it. That's originally heater matrix, but what we're going to stick it, you know, if we use that for anything, we'll obviously drill and maybe put some bulkhead connectors or something like that in it, make it look a bit neater. So I've got that to do. I've already started, and because we're using a different original pedal box modified to take 2 hydraulic cylinders, this will get cut out and it'll get replated. So what I've already done is I've taken off the strengthening plate on the back, ready to cut this out. So that's another job that I've got to do today. And I've also got fuel cap to plate up, because we don't use the original fuel filler location with it having the tanks in the boot. So that's something else that I'll get on with today. So I'm going to crack on with this. I'll leave it on time lapse whilst I weld this in, and then we'll have a look when it's finished. Right guys, as you can see, that's now welded in. I've dressed it all up and cleaned it, so that's basically where it was. Might just want a little bit of planishing out just to make it flat again, but yeah, that's basically welded in. I'll show you the inside. There's the inside, so I'll give that a little bit of a clean up. As you can see, it's all the way through. So we're happy with that. That's another little job ticks off the list. Right guys, next job for me is basically to modify the standard road car pedal box, which is this one. So that's perfectly standard road car pedal box, and what I've got to do is change it over to something like this with a fabricated piece on the end. So that takes one for the front brakes and a master cylinder for the rear brakes. So it's twin master cylinder setup. This one's got the hydraulic clutch on it, which we won't be using, so we can ignore that piece. And the reason we won't be using it is because we much prefer to use a cable clutch. Reason for that being, if there is a problem and there's a leak, you you haven't got the problem that it could be the clutch master cylinder, it could be the clutch slave cylinder, it could be a leak on one of the hydraulic hoses or one of the fittings, or it's just a cable, and if it breaks we can quite easily change it out. So this, as you can see on this road car one as well, it's also got a cable clutch on it, but we'll not be using that one either, so we'll get an aftermarket clutch pedal for it. Just basically it does away with this plastic clutch quadrant, which is something that can always another failure point, so that'll be gone. And what I'll be doing is I'll be fabricating that plate up, which will go on the end of here. I'll make that one, and then I'll make another plate exactly the same with the 2 holes in it for the 2 master cylinders, and then that'll get welded into the bulkhead, and then in theory this will just bolt straight into the car. So I'm going to get on and modify that now, and we'll see how we get on.
Right guys, I'll do a little bit of an update. Steve's not here today. I've rolled the arch on this side. I did the other one in the last video. Steve welded that up yesterday when he was here. So that's that done. All I'm doing now is putting the rib nuts, etc. in there to hold the body kit on. And then once I'm happy with the body kit fitting, which it fits fairly good, that lines up with that hole there when I put a rib nut in it, and the kit lines up pretty mint all the way around, sits up there like it should do, and put some fixings in there. Overall I'm happy, so I'll put these rib nuts in and see how it goes. Right, well here we go, that's it fitted. Obviously put the rib nuts in so I can put a cap head and a washer on with an underneath under there. It's done. Fixings in there as Eggenberger did it, and obviously I've trimmed the body kit so when it's fastened on, it sits perfectly up against the arch. Obviously there you get a bit of clearance because this is way away from the wheel arch here, but then it starts to meet up here and it's tight. Once it's bonded on, it's perfectly tight. So I'm pleased with that. 1 down, 3 to go. Right guys, today Steve's done, we think, just about all of the standard stitch welding. So what he's going to do today is something that I found while restoring DGR2, the Dick Johnson racing car, that I thought was quite clever. What Dick Johnson had done, rather than stitch weld all the way around all these apertures, very cleverly what he'd done is just doubled up on the spot welds. So in between each of the factory spot welds, they'd done another spot weld. What that's doing is adding strength like the stitch welding would do, but not adding any weight. And it's cleaner, nicer, just a better job. So Steve's on with that today. He's already done the other side, so we'll show you that in a bit. But this is obviously, as you've seen in previous videos, what the normal stitch welding would look like. But obviously when you're trying to do stitch welding on these edges, it's quite difficult, and you get the weld on the edge, so you can't get the seals on properly. The glass is difficult to fit. The way we're doing it is quite tricky, I think. If we go on the other side, you'll see this side that Steve's already done. And I hope it shows all right on camera there, but you can see there, that's the original spot welds on the car. And there you can see where Steve's gone round with spot weld it in between each one. Right around that aperture and right around that aperture. I think it looks bang on. Really, really pleased with that. I think it's a very, very clever idea. And yet again, can't take the, you know, the credit for it. I've stolen it from Dick Johnson Racing, but I think it works well. Really pleased with it. So we hope we've gotten some out of this video. We hope you enjoy them. So keep looking in, keep tuning in, like and subscribe if you like what you see. And next week, hopefully, you'll see a bit more progress. Thanks for watching.